Hi, 7th graders. Okay, today we're going to do something a little different than we've been doing. It's time to dive into learning about an art style and an artist. So today you're going to learn about Picasso, Pablo Picasso, and cubism. Right? So today our learning target is I can create art in the cubist style of Pablo Picasso. Our success criteria is I can identify the works of cubism. I can identify the characteristics of Picasso's cubist portraits. And I can create portraits using cubism. Okay. Now, cubism is a little bit different. I've got some videos there for the substitute to show you on Picasso and cubism and how it started with Pablo Picasso and Charles Baruch. And they kind of came up with this new style. It was during an era when they wanted to do something different. They wanted to shake things up. Picasso was all about learning the rules and then figuring out how to break them. And this was a time when we have cameras now. It was like, why do something realistic? You can take a picture of it. Let's make art and something unique that people are going to stop and stare at and go, whoa, that is different. And he really achieved that. He had a very long art career. He was a prodigy, a child prodigy. So he really started doing his art and got into art college at 15. So he was very prolific. What means, he really knew his stuff. When it came to working with oils and painting very large oil paintings at the age of 13 to 15. And in his early 20s, he goes to Paris, where he says, I'm going to be an artist. I don't need this college stuff anymore. Which kind of upset his dad, but he went. He had to follow his dream and do his thing. Okay? And you're going to learn a little bit more about those in those videos. All right? So we're going to stop right now and look at the videos, find out a little bit more about Pablo Picasso and cubism. And then you come back and I'll show you the work. Right? Bye. All right, so you looked at the videos. Cool. So think about it. This man started working when he was 15, and he worked into his early 90s. That's a lot of work. And not only did he work in paintings, but he worked in sculpture and pottery and set design for plays. And all kinds of things. When he died, there was over 50,000 pieces of artwork that he had done. That's a lot. Right? So let's talk about what we're going to do. There is in the packet, or you'll see some art example that some kids have done. Okay, let's go and put those up and show you some art examples. But there's a sheet in there, a laminated sheet called a roll a Picasso sheet. And we're going to do some portraits like Picasso would do. Okay, because when he would do a portrait of someone, for him, it wasn't about making them look exactly like they look in real life when you look at them with your eye. He wanted to show what was on the inside. What does he see about that person that he wants to accentuate, that he wants to show off to the viewer? He wants the viewer to look at it and put the pieces together about that person. And he was influenced by many people in his life, and he liked doing portraits of them. That was kind of his jam. He really liked working on portraits. So we're going to work on some, okay? Now, I don't have the Pablo Picasso sheet in front of me, but don't worry. I've worked with enough that I can wing it here, show you an example. Now, you're not going to get dice to do that because, well, the whole hands corona thing, okay? So I just want you to pick from each column. Now, if you have on your phone pick a number app or something, go for it. That's fine. right? If you don't, like I said, just pick from each column. Because each one has to have, you pick one face from a column, you pick 2 different eyes, 1 nose, and 1 mouth. All right? So I'm gonna change the camera angle so it's looking down so you can see what I'm doing. All right? Go down. Okay, everybody, I got my setup, and I'm gonna do mine on white drawing paper because I don't have manila paper with me from school, all right? So you're gonna have a large 12 by 18 piece of manila paper, and you're going to do 4 portraits, because doing multiple ones, we get a better feel of it. We get a little more comfortable with it. When you learn a new math technique, do you do just one problem and say, I understand it completely? No, you do several ones so you get a better feel of it, a better understanding. Same thing happens with art. We got to try it on, and then we got to really try it a little bit more. So that's what we're going to do. So take your paper, and we're going to fold it into 4ths so that we have 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to use my Sharpie so you can see what I'm doing, because if I did pencil, you would not see my stuff. So let me draw the lines so you can see them. Okay, you can draw yours if you want to. Now when you're doing a portrait, we're not doing it this way. We're going to have it this way, up and down, portrait style, okay? So let me fold it back a little bit so you can see just one section a little bit clearer. Now that roll of Picasso, you need to pick one face. So I'm going to pick the one that has that shape. All right. And we need to pick an eye. Now I love making my eyes go past and outside the edges. I just think it's so much fun. They kind of look like a taco. Okay. And I'm going to pick a second different eye. I'm going to add some things if I like, because that's what I'm doing. Okay. And then I need a nose. And I need a mouth. When you're done at this point, so this is what we get, and it's kind of crazy and kooky. Now we can't just stop there. So once we get done with this part, it looks like a floating head. We don't like floating heads. We don't leave floating heads. So let's add some things to it. From this point, I can add anything I want to it and give it a little bit more personality. I'm gonna add a neck and shoulders. I'm gonna add an ear. I wanna add an earring just because I can. So I've got a neck, eyes, earring. But what about that head? Let's put something on that head. Let's add some hair. A nice swoosh for the hair. Okay. So once this is done, you're going to give it color, 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 color. Lots of color. And we don't have to be realistic at all. In fact, he kind of threw realistic out the window when it came to color. So let's give the top half of this some pretty red lips. Okay. I'm gonna go with a blue for the bottom lip because I can. I'm gonna go with a green. Now I'm going super fast to show you, but you can take your time a little bit more and have it just right. In fact, I can even do, so that you can come back and maybe like do some shading, like I put a light green over that dark green crayon. What? Look how cool that looks. I think it looks pretty darn amazing. I can press down a little bit more and have some shading more at the edges. All kinds of stuff you can do. I can come in and go, oh, let me fill this in. Those lovely lashes. I can have a, here, and a little bit of this. And what color hair? A blue, of course. And da-da-da. Very pink face. And let's go with lavender. Now we need to do the background as well. Yes, you do. You got to do the background as well. Now you don't have to do it solid. Picasso was all about using patterns as well. So I could do for the background, this I'd say I do again, I'm doing this fast. You're going to take your time. You know, it just gives it some oomph. Maybe even come in and do some circles. So I have a pattern going on in the background, okay? And there you go. There's your cubist portrait, and you're going to do 4 of them, all right? Have fun, because when I get back, we're gonna do our big project. Bye, everybody.